seasonal cleanup, and volunteer drive. Let's restore our communities one street, one home, one heart at a time. Sign up at supportjamaica.gov.jm. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:30 p.m. and it's family time.
Good evening and welcome to everyone on Love 101 FM, Facebook, and YouTube Live. This is Family Time. Now, Family Time is about your issues and your relationships. It's about your at home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. So stay with us and please connect with us via all our platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Family Life Ministries FLMJA and on Instagram. Keep up with what's happening at simply FLMJA. While Family Time is a family program, we'd like to caution that it may on odd occasion touch on what some may consider mature subject matters. Your discretion is advised. I'm Crystal Daly Thompson. They're connected 24/7, but are they safe? Social media has become the place where friendships are built and trends are created, but sometimes it can be a bully. And unfortunately, families are often overwhelmed and unsure how to support children in today's digital environment. So, our topic is asking this question: is your child safe online? Unlike schoolyard bullying, cyberbullying follows our children home, invading bedrooms, phones, and even their peace of mind. How do parents navigate and recognize the warning signs? What should teens do if they're being bullied online? Or if, God forbid, they're the ones doing the bullying? As we have that discussion, we'd like you to share your answers to the question: should parents have passwords to their children's devices? To their child's device? Send your answers via WhatsApp text and WhatsApp voice notes to 876-997-3125. Try to keep those voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds, and you can also call our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. You can watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 FM YouTube. Give us a call. Our conversations are about faith, family, and how we live out our beliefs with love. We'll be right back.
One Jamaica, one more year.
Jamaica's biggest celebration of national pride is here. Join the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport for the Independence Grand Gala 2026 on Thursday, August 6, beginning at 6 p.m. at the National Stadium. This year's celebration marks Jamaica's 64th year of independence under the theme United in Celebrating Resilience. Listen to live highlights on Love 101 FM's social media pages at 6 p.m. and live on radio at 7 p.m. That's the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Independence Grand Gala 2026, Thursday, August 6 at 6 p.m. live on Love 101 FM, the family station.
Will always shine.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and Facebook. And welcome to you all. Remember to answer our question: what or should Parents have passwords to their child's devices. WhatsApp text and voice notes to 876-997-3125. Try to keep those voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds. And you can also call or studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook and Love 101 FM YouTube. Years ago, when school ended, bullying often ended for the day. Today, that's no longer true. A cruel message, an embarrassing photo, a fake account, a nasty comment. These can travel across hundreds, even thousands of phones within minutes. For many teenagers, social media is where they laugh, learn, and connect. But it's also where some experience rejection, comparison, anxiety, and relentless cyberbullying. To help us navigate all this safely is Dr. Carol Powell Booth. She's a licensed clinical psychologist with 20 years experience, an international speaker, and founder of Making Headways and Making Headways Academy. Welcome, Dr. Carol. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Crystal. Thanks for having me.
Excellent, excellent. We're happy to have you to help us to unpack this very relevant topic. Now, how much is there any data there out there to tell us how much time teenagers spend online?
There is data. Of course, these are estimates because, depending on where you are and what age the child is, it may vary. But on average, the research is showing that teenagers in particular spend anywhere between 4 to 8 hours a day
Mm.
online, not including, the time that they spend doing schoolwork.
Oh wow, 48 hours.
Mhm. So
That's
it's
a
almost
lot.
like a full-time job.
Yes, that's a lot of time because of course when they're at school, that time is taken out. So we're talking about weekends, perhaps time in between doing homework, bedtime, and all of that.
Yes.
So why social media is so attractive? What's the benefit of social media to a young person?
Well, the thing is that social media is actually designed specifically to grab our attention.
Yeah.
Whether it is a child or adult, is designed with that as the primary purpose.
Yes.
And so, when they design it so that you can get likes and comments and notifications about new messages coming in, all of that is deliberate. They use their understanding of psychology and how, the brain processes those rewards. When you see the numbers of persons who are following you increase, or you get more likes, all of that is designed specifically. And so the more of those behaviors that are desirable, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, the comments, and so forth, it results in a reward. It taps into that reward system in our brain, and so we
Mm,
feel good, and then we want to repeat that behavior over and over again.
wow.
It also benefits, it can be beneficial in terms of staying connected, learning new skills, being creative, and so forth. But if I could just dial back a little, because when we spoke about the amount of time that children spend online, it's one
Yes.
thing to look at the number of hours that they may spend, but
Yes.
another critical consideration is what's the
Mhm.
quality of the time that they're spending? What exactly are they doing? That's the question. And I know we're going to unpack that.
Okay. Yes, indeed. We certainly need to unpack that. But based on what you're saying to me, one word is coming up to me, and that word is addiction. So it's
Hmm.
easy for teenagers to become addicted to social media. And so, we want with this kind of possible addiction that can arise from this dependency on this feel good kind of experience that happens with social media engagement. What are children really doing online? What are some of the things that are being done?
Well, no, that's the question. So, on the one hand, they may be doing schoolwork,
Mm,
right? And that's fair enough. So, they sometimes use the devices at school, in the classroom, or at home with homework to do research and to complete assignments. But
yes.
they may also be watching videos
Mm,
online. They may be messaging friends. They may be actually talking on the phone with friends. They may also be shopping,
mm-hmm,
whether legally or not. So sometimes they will sneak out their parents' credit cards and debit cards
mm-hmm.
in order to shop or to play games, because some of the games does require that they use money in order to be able to participate in the games. They may be also be creating their own content. Some of them are content creators from early ages, early teens, etc. Um, but overall, the internet really has become the children's playground
Mm-hmm.
as well as their classroom, their cinema. So it's multifaceted.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. So they're playing games, they're shopping, they're doing several things online, but even some of those kinds of things put them in harm's way. And I believe we're gonna speak to some of that. But who are they interacting with? Is it just their own peers, their own age group? Because it's hard to manage that on the World Wide Web.
Indeed, indeed. And this is now where the concern and the potential danger lies.
Yes.
Because let's face it, there are persons who intentionally create a profile,
Yes.
and and the profile that they create is really a fake one. In other words, they may be an adult of 60 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
they indicate that they are 20, they're female, and sometimes they even come up with these photos that are not really of themselves. And so
Wow.
many times the children are really spending time, sometimes they're not even aware of it, that they're really interacting and interfacing with strangers, and sometimes they're divulging information that is private and ought not to be
Yes.
shared.
Okay. So we want to know when does healthy use of social media becomes unhealthy? When should we start paying attention?
All right, we're looking for changes in patterns of behavior and also interference with normal behavior. So, for example, we're looking for an interference with sleep. We're
Mm.
looking for a decline in grades, in poor school performance. We're
Wow.
looking for difficulties in relationships. So, for example, they may usually want to be spending time with a family, and then all of a sudden now they prefer to be by themselves in their rooms, or only with their peers. They may also stop being interested in hobbies that they usually find fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Or we may find that they have these fluctuations in moods, or they may become aggressive, or they may become withdrawn in some cases. So if the child becomes distressed in any way,
Yes.
especially when they can't access their devices, that's a warning sign.
Warning sign of addiction or danger. When do we how do we navigate identifying addiction and you know effect on body versus putting yourself in harm's way overall?
All right, that's a good question. So, if there's any interference with the sleep, with school, with relationships, with hobbies, if there is any, mood swings or so, then that's perhaps signs of, just to be cautious and be careful. Now,
Mm,
when it is that it appears as though they can't do without these devices, or as they're going to have a tantrum, or they may start to act out. They may become very
yeah.
boisterous and aggressive,
So
and
so
they
yes, go ahead.
Mhm. and
Continue.
and and it might so it's almost, so the addiction, just like any other addiction, if
Yes.
they may actually be showing signs of withdrawal. This is
Mm,
when now, the behaviors become extreme, and it seems as though they can't do without this, or else in their mind,
right.
they just
I,
can't
I
survive.
like the way you said when the behaviors become extreme, because perhaps teenagers need to be placed on timeout, no screen time, and those kinds of things, just as the younger ones,
Yes.
to help them to be less dependent on the devices, less dependent on the online stimulation and the likes and all of that kind of thing, and enjoy the natural environment. Perhaps that might be something that we can consider. But my next question is cyberbullying, because we can get into that when we return after we go to a break. So listeners, we are talking about um, safety of your children online. Are they safe? And we've asked the question, and we want to hear from you. Should parents have passwords to their child's devices? Now, remember, you can WhatsApp, text, or voice notes to 876-997-3125. We want to hear from you. This is Family Time. We're going to a break.
Family Station. It's 5:45.
It's game time! Score big with Woman Things. Bring home the championship deals on tiles, bathroom fixtures and vanities, faucets, windows, doors, and so much more. Priced for you to win. Big goals, bigger savings. Only at Home and Things, where everybody is a winner. Visit us at 1215 Providence Way, Ironshore, Montego Bay, 17 Old Hope Road, or 68 and a half Constant Spring Road, and get your home ready for victory!
Jamaica. Our identity is more than just a name. It's who we are. The National ID card helps Jamaicans confirm who they are, access government services, and unlock new opportunities and prove your identity with confidence. Enroll today and be part of building a stronger, more connected Jamaica. Your ID, your identity. NERA, proudly serving Jamaica. One secure identity.
Come Alive, a national call to worship comes to King's House East Lawn, Saturday, August 1, with Michael W. Smith, Hassan, Jermaine Edwards, John Mark Wigan, and more. For a limited time only, save big on your ticket. General, now 5,000. VIP, 15,000. VVIP, 22,000. Gates open at 2 p.m. Tickets available island-wide at Fontana Pharmacy or online at touchstonelink.com. Get your tickets now while stocks last. 100% net proceeds go to charity.
It's fun galore at FunFest Family Festival. It's Emancipation Day at Hope Garden. Come enjoy Jamaica's biggest one-day theme park with over 50 exciting rides. For the first time ever, get your pre-sold tickets courtesy of Jam Day. Adults 1,000 and children 500. At the gate, adults 1,500, children 800, and toddlers free. Get your tickets at Gino's Pharmacy, Kingston Jerk, 22 Jerk, and Signature Style. FunFest Family Festival, Saturday, August 1st at Hope Garden. Gates open at 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come out early. FunFest.
Welcome. Have you responded to our special request? Should parents have passwords to their child's devices? Give us a call, send a text, or leave a message. Our topic this week is your child safe online? Sometimes the deepest bruises aren't visible. A cruel comment may disappear from a screen, but its impact can remain in a young person's heart for years. Let's explore those hidden effects and signs families shouldn't ignore. Now, before we went on the break, we were about to talk about what exactly is cyberbullying. And so we need Dr. Carol there to kind of give us a definition of what cyberbullying is. What is cyberbullying, Doc?
Okay, so cyberbullying is defined as the deliberate and repeated use of digital technology,
Yeah.
and the primary aim is to harass or threaten or embarrass or humiliate or harm another person.
Mm,
It occurs, of course, through electronic devices such as the phone, the tablets, computers, gaming platforms, and social media. So you actually mentioned a while ago some of those examples of what cyberbullying might look like. So the
Yes.
sending of the hurtful or threatening or abusive messages, or there may be instances where persons post or share embarrassing photos or videos without permission
Yeah.
with just about anybody. Spreading rumors as well or false information online may also be perceived as cyberbullying. And creating like profiles that are fake in order to sometimes isolate persons, or to humiliate them, or impersonate them, or ridicule them in any way. And so what we need to remember about the bullying is that, one, it is intentional. It is something that is deliberate and is meant to cause either hurt or harm to someone, or embarrassment. And it's repeated. It's usually done more than once.
Mhm.
And there's also too usually a power imbalance. So whether it's in terms of age, or just having some sort of advantage over the victim.
Okay, advantage over the victim. Now, recently we've heard in the news of a situation with a school um, down in the second city,
Hmm.
where they abused a child, a young lady, and her family. Her father was involved. Her mother was involved, and these were the bullies were other children,
Hmm.
affecting adults. So we want persons who think that cyberbullying is it's nothing serious. We want them to understand how cyberbullying differs from traditional bullying. Could you explain that to us? Why is cyberbullying as equal a threat as a physical bully?
All right, that's a good question. The thing about it is that, if you think about it, traditional bullying really ends after the child leaves. Let us say it happens at school. It
Yeah.
ends when the child goes home. That's traditional bullying. But for cyberbullying, this is potentially can happen 24/7, right? Because the cyberbullying is going to follow them everywhere they go,
Mm.
because of the nature of the platforms that are used. These are the digital platforms. So, first of all, the messages can be spread far and wide to large audiences in a short space of time. And the thing about it, and you touched on it just now, is that
Yes.
it can leave a permanent
Mm.
digital footprint. So even after
Wow.
let us say for the young lady in question, in that example that you gave in the second city,
Mhm.
even when she becomes an adult, that footprint will still be there. And those emotional scars may also be still be there. So those are the main differences between the traditional form of bullying and the cyberbullying.
Okay, okay. So we want our listeners to understand digital footprint is permanent. It cannot be erased. Even though you may delete and think you may scour, it cannot be erased. So certainly out there, as the world becomes more and more digital, we wouldn't want these kinds of information floating around, whether or not a group of people may know this is not true or not. It's just really not a great experience to have lies and very uncomfortable things being said about you in the digital space. Now, how does digital media affect sleep, learning, emotions, and relationships? But more so, you touched on the sleep and the mood aspect. How does it
Mhm.
affect relationships?
All right. It can affect relationships because, first of all, it's not, cyberbullying doesn't only impact the individual, as you mentioned. It can
Yeah.
impact their families, their friends, the communities in which they're living, their church communities as well. It has really, it's like a ripple effect. Yes. But if
Mm-hmm.
I may just dial back a little to sleep, because this is important. Sleep, the purpose of one of the main purposes of sleep is for us, our brains, to become refreshed, and for the inside the brain is like some house cleaning is taking place while we're sleeping. So some of the cells are being gotten rid of and so on during our sleep. We're not aware of that's happening. So
Yeah.
when children are on their devices until late in the night, they usually go to bed later, meaning that they have less time now to sleep,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the closer that they the closer to bedtime that they use their devices, it can also prevent them from falling asleep,
Mm-hmm.
right? So as a result of that, their sleep quality can be affected. But also too, it can also impact, and this is something that we need to pay attention to, it can impact on their ability to concentrate and remain focused during the school day. It can also impact their what we call executive function, that is their ability to make decisions,
Mm.
to organize, and it can also result in what we see that the research showing is that it can also result in increased levels of anxiety and depression, because and this comes about primarily because there is this unhealthy comparison that
Yeah.
is taking place. My body image doesn't look like this other person's, and so I feel like I'm inferior to them, and this can
Yeah.
cause all sorts of self-esteem issues, etc.
Wow, wow. So comparison, self-worth, there's so many things that
Mhm.
can be affected. But I just feel like I just want to just note this, that our listeners or parents could hear this, that it's not only the babies that need limited screen time. We should try to practice that amongst ourselves and also encourage the young adults and the teens to practice that, to protect our overall well-being, mental health, emotional health. Now, why do you think many teenagers, Doc, they don't want to tell adults that they're being bullied? Because I've seen situations where someone is being bullied online and they just keep it to themselves, and as you've mentioned, you see a change in mood, or something is happening. And I'm so happy that you're mentioning that this can be tied to social media use, because
Mhm.
sometimes when teenagers are moody, we just think that, oh, they just want to be moody, oh, they're just their hormones, they're just changing, they're this, they're that. But it's really the impact of social media on their psyche. But why you think teenagers are reluctant sometimes to share with their parents that they're being bullied?
Usually the biggest factor is the fear factor,
Mm.
or they may also so they may be afraid of the repercussions of sharing with their parents, especially, for example, because now we have seen very recently in the media, what has happened with the again with the case of the situation in the West,
Yes.
that police can get involved,
Hmm.
right? So there may be the fear factor. Persons may also be embarrassed as well, that this is happening to me. I'm being bullied, right? They may also fear, for example, if I tell my parents that something is happening and I'm uncomfortable about it, it may mean that I'm going to lose my devices, lose access to the devices, and of course they don't want that. In other cases, they may think that the parents just won't understand, or they just won't do anything about it, you
Right.
know. And that is why it's important for parents, if the child discloses that they're being bullied or they feel uncomfortable about a certain interaction online, it's important for parents or caregivers to respond in a very calm way, so that children feel safe in order to share even more, because usually what they start with is just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay. Yeah. 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 So it's fair. But why would they be so afraid to say someone is doing this to me? What kinds of environment would make a child feel so afraid to speak that someone is hurting them?
Well, usually, and as I mentioned before, there's usually this differential in power, right? So
Mm.
if I've handed over, for example, inappropriate images of myself, Or if you know who my family is, or if you know where I live or where I go to school, then the bullies may
Yes.
say, well, I know this about you. So if you say anything, then I'm going to, spill the beans, or I'm going to harm you in some way, or I'm going to, you
Threatening.
know,
Yeah.
so there's usually the threats. And,
Yes.
and so
I
persons,
want you, I want you to hold that thought for me because we're coming up on the break. We want to unpack that a little bit more. But listeners, this is Family Time live on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and Facebook. It's produced by Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we want you to answer this question. Should parents have passwords to their child's devices? Let us know via WhatsApp text and voice notes at 876-997-3125. Try to keep those voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds. And you can also call our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 968-8328. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 FM YouTube. We want to hear from you. Don't go away. This is Family Time. We'll be right back.
On FM, the family station. It's 6 o'clock. Come alive, a national call to worship comes to King's House East Lawn, Saturday, August 1, with Michael W. Smith, Hassan, Jermaine Edwards, John Mark Wigan, and more. For a limited time only, save big on your ticket. General, now 5,000. VIP, 15,000. VVIP, 22,000. Gates open at 2 p.m. Tickets available island-wide at Fontana Pharmacy or online at touchstonelink.com. Get your tickets now while stocks last. 100% net proceeds go to charity.
Your personal information matters. With a secure national identification card, only the information needed to confirm your identity is collected and protected. Only what is essential for your identity record. You control when and how your information is used. Feel safe. Feel secure. NERA. Safeguarding your identity. Securing your future. One secure identity.
Welcome back. You are tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Let's get a word from Reverend Mike in this episode of Word to Flesh Moments with Reverend Mike.
Bullying in schools is repeated, unwanted, aggressive behavior that involves physical, verbal, and cyberbullying. It frequently occurs in classrooms, hallways, cafeterias, and on playgrounds where adult supervision is low. For some children, bullying results in severe mental health issues, lower grades, school avoidance, and long-term emotional harm. To those who are being bullied, Matthew 5 says, "Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who despitefully use you." To teachers, I advise, supervise your students well. Don't allow bullying in any shape or form. To the bully, I say, hurting or intimidating others does not make you powerful. It simply exposes your own fears and your own lack of emotional control. But you can change. God has provided an opportunity for you to change. He says in His Word, He has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and soundness of mind. Consult a guidance counselor today and make that change right now. I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Thanks, Rev Mike. So, what can parents actually do? Is it about taking away the phone? As I'm saying, cutting down on screen time, installing every monitoring app available, Or is the answer something deeper than technology? We have lots of questions, and Dr. Carol Powell Booth has been helping us to unpack some of these questions or answer some of them as best as possible. She's helping us very well, and we will certainly be picking up on that last point there, Doc. Now, she's a licensed clinical psychologist with over 20 years' experience, an international speaker, and founder of Making Headways and Making Headways Academy. So, before we went on the break, we were talking about the kind of environment that, makes children feel afraid to speak. And you were speaking of threats, where bullies would often threaten the victims and say, if you do this, I will do that. But how can we empower victims to let them walk in more confidence in knowing that when you share that you are being abused, they can be assured that they'll be protected? What are some steps that we can give to them and direct them in certain pathways to let them feel confident enough to speak up before it's too late?
All right. Well, first of all, we need to create a safe environment where they can feel that they will be heard, they will be listened to, that they won't be judged or shut down. That's
Yeah,
critical, So we have to have one of perhaps maybe three C's that we can consider: a connection. We need to have a connection with our children,
indeed.
because if they don't feel that they are going to be heard or they won't be judged, then it's likely that they're not going to tell us in the first place. So apart from the possible threat that they may be experiencing, if they feel that they just won't be, they won't be accepted, they won't be understood,
Mm,
then it's going to be a challenge for them to even, because it's, when you think about it, it's something that, although it's so frightening, it can actually be something that's really difficult to muster up the courage to say, I am being bullied.
mm, indeed, indeed. So we have a caller, and
Mhm.
we're going to hear from her. She's calling into studio. Welcome, caller. And we were up
Good
on the
evening.
question. Yes, we're on the question to
Hello.
hear from you. Yes.
Good evening.
Are you hearing us?
I'm just barely hearing, but I'm going to speak. Um, I am listening to the program because it's more than one time I heard about this bully thing, and each time I say I want to call and give my little piece. My name is Mama G. I'm going by this name, Mama G. So because I'm a regular caller to love, but my granddaughter used to go to a popular primary school because I live in Portmore. And she
Yeah.
used to go to a school in Portmore, primary school. And she came home, it was after COVID, when you used to wear masks to school and things. And she came home and she said, Grandma, there's a bully at school. I said, bully? How you mean that? She said, yes, Grandma. And she tell me what and what this bully used to do to her. The bully tear off her mask. If she goes to the bathroom, this girl would slap her and everything and be it somewhere with her. But listen, my granddaughter, she grew up on the tablet using, she speak like Peppa Pig. She have an
Okay.
accent, even though she had never traveled. So I don't know if because of the accent, the girl even tell her that she's not a Jamaican, she's an adopted girl and thing. But you know what I did? I just take her one morning when she was leaving, and I hug her. And I said, come here, we are going to talk. And I said to her, look here, we are going to say the Our Father's Prayer. The Lord is my shepherd. And I said it with her. And then she said, Grandma, amen. And about 3 or 4 days after, I'm telling you, I kept saying it every morning with her before she go to school. She came home one day and said, Grandma, the bully is no more. Yes. So we as Christians, we are to use up the word of God with our children. God
Yeah.
has given us the word to use as a weapon against those who are out there want to hurt our children and hurt us. Just hug your child. Say to your child, the Lord is my shepherd, and send it out with that prayer because the Lord promised to protect us. wherever we go, as long as we acknowledge Him. And I'm telling you, my granddaughter, she's not at the school anymore because she moved from here and she's living in another area. But where she's going now, she still says her prayer and she's not experiencing the bully. So we have to know what to do. That God will that go back to God empty. It will acknowledge what God sent it to do. Amen. Have a good evening. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you
God
so
bless
much,
you all.
Dee, for reminding us that prayer is the key, and we can trust the Lord to answer our prayers, to protect us. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So Mama G, they're giving us the solution. Prayer is the solution. And some people might kiss them teeth and say, I go and go down there and I go and find that bully who is, attacking my child and show them who is the bully. But we do not encourage that kind of approach as believers. It's really sometimes difficult when you are being attacked or being treated unjustly. The natural response is to react in a defensive way. But one of the main and first things is to do is to pray. And if there are other practical steps where even if the law should be included, that kind of approach should be taken. And if we need support from experts such as Dr. Booth here, who is on our show this evening, we should take that kind of approach. So, at what age should children be allowed to use social media, Doc? What age do you think?
All right. Now, you may be surprised at my answer, but it's something that we really should consider. Are you aware, and maybe many of the listeners aren't aware either,
Yes.
that some of the very persons who are the creators of the social media platforms and the different devices, so, whether it is Apple devices or Android or so on, there are some very, very famous persons who themselves have said, although we work in the area, we are the ones who, our companies are the ones who have created these devices and gadgets and so forth. They did not allow their children to be on any social media until maybe age 16 or more. That's the case. If you can fact check this, that's the case of Steve Jobs, who was the founder of Apple. That's the case of Bill Gates, who was the founder of Microsoft. And there are other persons, who have worked in Silicon Valley, and some of them over time have said, you know what, we see the potential dangers, and therefore we are going to put up our own guardrails.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's their position, and I think it should inform ours as well, right?
Yes, I
So
really like that. It's just as how you have your parents would say, well, for simple things like you can't get your hair permed until you have become this age,
exactly.
or we have the age of consent, and because we understand the effect of some of these things on the mind and on the body when it is introduced too soon.
Right.
So I think that could be something that could be put in motion either by policy or strong recommendation for children. And it's so profound that you have mentioned that many of the tech giants and the geniuses behind these applications and so on, they are aware, and so they treat with caution and ensure that they protect their own children. Now, what conversations should parents be having regularly with their children before there's a crisis, and when using technology and all of that?
Right. So it's important, and it depends on the age and stage of development of the child for sure. So if it's a teenager, for example, you can have more in-depth conversations with them about, you know, their thoughts and what are some of the things you have done today? How did you spend your time on the device today? What exactly did you do? Who are
Yeah.
some of the persons who you met with? Do you know these persons? Have you ever met them face to face? Are these persons your friends, your relatives? Are they persons who are, millions of miles away, halfway across the globe? How do you feel when you interact with them? Are you uncomfortable at all? And how much time do you spend when you're online? And is there another way? So instead of spending, the 6 to 8 hours per day, and this is not about the summertime, let me just put that rider there. This is generally during school time. Yeah.
Yes.
But if you
Yes.
can now introduce to them and say, okay, instead of spending 6 hours on the device, let's plan a family session where we're going to play a board game. How do you feel about that? And
Mm.
once it becomes a normal, regular part of the routine, you may be surprised. Studies have shown that, for example, in Denmark, when they had introduced very early in the game the introduction of devices, using the devices in school. And then when they realized that the students' grades were plummeting over the years, they have now in place, and some of the other European countries have actually adopted a similar policy where there is a device-free zone. Schools are device-free zones. So you're handing your phones when you get to
Yes.
school, and when you're leaving after extracurricular activities, you can take them. And when they interviewed some of the very children, whether they were prep school age or high school age, the children themselves start to share how they feel that they have benefited because they get to play more with their
Yes.
physical friends. They get to write
Yes.
stories and create all sorts of things and discover talents that they would not otherwise have known. So
Yes, yes, yes. So
for some,
I want you to hold that point because that's so important for us to underscore the need for real interaction. This has been Family Time, listeners. We're going to a break. We'll be back.
Come alive, a national call to worship comes to King's House East Lawn Saturday, August 1 with Michael W. Smith, Hassan, Jermaine Edwards, John Mark Wigan, and more. For a limited time only, save big on your ticket. General, now 5,000. VIP, 15,000. VVIP, 22,000. Gates open at 2 p.m. Tickets available island-wide at Fontana Pharmacy or online at touchstonelink.com. Get your tickets now while stocks last. 100% net proceeds go to charity.
Hey, turn up to 25. Turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation, all inclusive flex? Yeah. I got a million cash. Yes. Smart TV, PS5. I know I'm upgrade.
Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up for Switch to Postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58 free of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
Welcome back. You're tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time brought to you by Family Life Ministries. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Remember, you can tune into the program via the Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. Welcome back to our discussion on Is Your Child Safe Online? We've talked about the problem. Now let's focus on the solution. How do we raise young people who use technology wisely, protect others online, and remember that their identity isn't found in followers or filters, but in who God says they are? And we are discussing this with Dr. Carol Powell Booth. Dr. Booth, we were talking there about uh, behavioral patterns, among other things, and we would want to pick up on that last point.
yes. So one of the conversations that should be had with children of whatever the age is. I mean, once they're, well, I shouldn't say whatever the age is. Once they're, say, 6 years and older, we need to
Yes.
ask them some pertinent questions. So, and this can be guided by the text in Philippians 4 verse 8 that says, whatever things are true and noble and just and of good report, think on these things. So if you ask the child, for example, based on your postings today and what you have shared, or the interactions and so forth, is
Yes.
what you shared, is it true? Is it kind? Is
Yes.
it helpful?
Yes.
Is it necessary? And does it glorify God? If not, then it shouldn't be shared, it shouldn't be liked, it shouldn't be, whatever that exchange is should not have taken place.
Yes, yes, yes. Right. So that is how we want to guide children, to kind of give them a sense of consciousness, a sense of awareness. Now, we have some feedback from listeners via WhatsApp, and we have a note here from Tanisha, and she says parents should definitely have the passwords for all the devices their children use, as well as passwords to access their emails and any social media pages if they're old enough to have them. And I couldn't agree more. Thora says a resounding yes, and Bishop Carl says definitely, and I do agree with that. Once you're a minor, you must be properly guided
Yes.
and protected. You are not responsible for yourself. So indeed, there are certain boundaries with privacy, but when it comes on to your safety and your protection and your continued guidance on the stewardship of your parents, your extended family, your grandma, your aunt, etc., certainly the passwords must be given. Now we continue the discussion. We want to know, what if your child is doing the bullying? How do you treat with that? We want to hear from you, Doc. What would you do if a case comes before you and it is the child who is the offender?
Right. Well, first of all, we have to ask the Holy Spirit
Mm-hmm.
to guide our thoughts and our minds, because that is something that, first of all, we should never be ourselves in denial that no, oh no, my child is an angel, my child would never do that. The truth is that as parents, we don't know what our
Yes.
children may do, right? They are growing, they're impressionable, they may be following others who they've seen, engage in certain cyberbullying behaviors. So we
Yes.
need to ask the Holy Spirit to help us and to not just, overreact. In
Mm-hmm.
addition to that, we need to, first of all, accept that this has happened,
Mm-hmm.
be understanding that the child has made a mistake and they need to take responsibility for their mistake and make amends. And so we need to help them to recognize, first of all, the possible effects that this can have on the victim
Yes.
and on the family, not only the victim's family, but the bully's family as well, right? And
Yeah.
to take responsibility, to apologize. And if this is something that is deeply ingrained, let us say this has been happening for years, and the child says, "But mommy or daddy, I don't know why I did it. I can't help myself." Then perhaps you may need additional professional help.
Well,
But the child should be made to understand that what they have done is wrong, and to take responsibility, and to make mend the fences where they're broken.
yes. So, on the point of additional help, I was about to ask, what do you think families need in such a situation like that? What kind of access can families to get to professional help? Sometimes when people think about that, or parents, they think first thing they think is cost and time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How can they access support easily?
Right. So there are a number of places, including Family Life Ministries, of
Yeah.
which I'm a part. And Family Life Ministries has a number of different counselors who are trained professionals, right? So Family Life Ministries is one. But even before you get to Family Life Ministries, the school's guidance counselor, Reverend Mike mentioned that in his segment. The school's guidance counselor is usually one of the first points of contact where the family can get help from the guidance counselor. Also, if you're a part of a religious community, the pastors, the bishops, the elders, or sometimes even other persons in the church community may be trained professionals themselves. And then, of course, there are others who are private individuals who can actually help to pay. So, for example, at Making Headways, we have those trained professionals as well.
Yes, 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 yes. All right. So there's Easy Access, Family Life Ministries, and at Headway, etc. How do we raise children who honor Christ online? You mentioned, that technique. Is it kind? Does it glorify God? What other advice can you give to parents to help them to raise children who aim to honor Christ with every interaction online?
Well, the whole business of forgiveness is a very important part of this discussion. As we said, we make mistakes. As adults, we make mistakes. Children also make mistakes. Sometimes we, are led down a path and we take the path although we know we shouldn't. But forgiveness is important. So it's first of all important for the adults in the child's life, the parents, the caregivers,
Yes.
to communicate to the child that I don't condone your behavior. It is wrong, but
Yes.
I forgive you.
Yes.
And it's important to also have the child understand that they need to forgive themselves as well, and to recognize that although they made a mistake, that doesn't mean that they're a bad person, right? It's not easy though, I'm not suggesting for any point that it's easy, but it's necessary, and it's an important part of their own growth and learning and development.
Yes. So you mentioned forgiveness. Of course, we hear accountability coming through. But how can we um, guide young people in exercising biblical principles with their online behavior?
Well, again, if we go back to the whole concept of Philippians 4 verse 8,
Yes.
and treating others with kindness and respect, that is important. As a teenager, you know they need to be encouraged to be good digital citizens.
Yes.
So, kindness and respect are principles that are ingrained in the Bible.
Yes.
The whole business of verifying information before sharing it, that's important. And to also respectfully, um, if there is somebody who has an opinion that's different from yours, how are
Yes.
you going to go about it? Are you going to be abrasive? Are you going to be aggressive? Do you want to humiliate them? Or can you say, well, respectfully, I don't agree with you, and
Yes.
I this is where we differ. So technology really should be used to encourage others to be better human beings,
Yes.
even if it is children who are involved or teenagers, rather than to tear others down.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
one of the texts that helps with that is to think about our lives as being lights. So Matthew 5 verse 16 reminds us to let our light shine before others so that God can be glorified. So if what we're doing is not glorifying God, then we need to stop and say, no, this is not right.
Yes. All right, Doc. So we're coming to the close of the show, but do you want to give us a quick update on your seminar?
Sure. So we actually have a seminar coming up tomorrow on this topic and more. So we're looking at screens, social media, and gaming online, and where
Wow.
we go in more depth. And there are some resources that we are happy to share with you as well. So if you go onto our website, www.makingheadways.com, you can get more information.
Excellent. Thanks for being here with us, Doc. You have given us a wide range of information and key nuggets to help parents to guide and raise their children with more self awareness on the use of social media. Thank you so much for being here. We hope today's conversation helps in shaping you and your homes. If you have questions of a personal nature or are concerned about a friend or family member, we implore you to make contact with us for more information on our services. For our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our head office at 920-1038 or 926-8101 or even 5798-690 and 2798-678. The last two numbers are also WhatsApp enabled. Note that for our appointments and information on costs, you must call the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA, and on Instagram at simply FLMJA. Before we leave you, here is our verse for this evening. 1 John 5, verse 21. Children, guard yourselves from idols. Thanks to our special guest, Dr. Carol Powell Booth, show producer Kathy Gale, big up yourself, and Derval Graham for piloting us through this hour. And of course, you, our listeners. I'm Crystal. Have a blessed rest of the week.
You're tuned to Family Radio in Jamaica, Red Love 101 FM, and the time is now 6:31 p.m. So it's that time of day for us to bring you up to date on the latest weather matters. And it's released at 4 o'clock this afternoon.